Welcome to Ponchatoula Live, the show where we make it easy for you to connect with the people of Ponchatoula. I'm your host, Parker Layrisson, and you got a little sneak peek there if you were watching closely. But this week, I've got a really special guest, somebody I've been looking forward to talking to because he does so much for our community here in Tangipahoa Parish. He serves and protects us as a sheriff's deputy, but he also goes much further with this unique ministry that does a great job of serving people who are in real need. And the exciting part is you're going to have an opportunity, if you so wish, to help because they need volunteers coming up here. But I'm speaking, of course, about James Sparacello. James, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Parker. I appreciate it.
Well, I've been looking forward to interviewing you. My kids are more interested than usual in this show this week. They're almost never interested, but I have a boy named James. And so when he hears that I'm interviewing a James, he gets excited about that. You know, the Layrisson, we have what we call the James gang in our family, and there are 5 of us, but my boy is the first one to actually use his God-given first name. You know, Sheriff Eddie Layrisson is really Sheriff James Edward Layrisson. I'm really James Parker Layrisson. I won't bore you with everybody, but welcome to the show. And why don't we kick things off, James, if you will? Just tell us a little bit about yourself.
All right, yeah, like Parker said, my name is James Sparacello. I've been married for 35 years. Actually, May 4th to make 35 years. I have 3 girls, 2 grandbabies. I work at Tangipahoa Parish Sheriff's Office. I own my own fabrication, tri-parish welding, and I'm the founder of Transport Ministries.
Wow, that is a busy plate if I've ever heard one. 35 years of marriage and 3 girls might take that. Some people, that's all they can handle on your plate. And you got multiple jobs on top of that. Tell us, if you will, before we're going to obviously dig deep into Transport Ministries and how you're helping the community and how others can help you help the community if they so wish. Ask you about your other aspects of your career, both in law enforcement and in the private sector. But before we get into that, let's talk about your family because, man, what could you be prouder of than 35 years of marriage and a beautiful family with 3 daughters? Before we get into that family, what was it like for you growing up, and maybe what lessons did you learn that helped you become a good father and husband and all of that?
Growing up wasn't that great. We come from a dysfunctional family. I just kind of felt like my dad did things to my mom that I didn't really appreciate. I was too little to do anything about it. And I just learned from that to be a better person. I had a hard life growing up and kind of depending on myself because I didn't have a father figure around. He committed suicide when I was about 13 years old.
Oh, wow. I'm so sorry to hear that.
At that age where you need somebody to be there. So, growing up, I kind of ran wild on my own. Did a lot of things I shouldn't have done, but it made me a better person today.
Well, thank you for sharing that, and kudos to you for breaking that cycle because we've had almost 200 interviews on this show, and many of our guests have dug deep to talk about, deaths in the family and homelessness and addiction and all the things that, the life can throw at us. And the show's always best when people like you share what's real more than some imagined version we want to paint for ourselves. And, you see, I know my wife comes from a background in social services. She's a school counselor, a social worker. And she tells me so often how, the sins that are put on a kid when they're little become the sins that the kid commits later. And I know hearing that from my dad and my brother in law enforcement my whole life. So I really admire that in you. I can't pretend to know what that must be like because I had a very different experience. But I really admire folks like you, James, that get through those tough times and then make life not just better for you, but for the family you bring into this world and others through your ministry and your service. So thank you for that. Wow, 35 years. You look like a young man. That's a heck of a love story. How did that come to be? That love story that you're still living out this day?
Well, I'm from Harahan area. And my cousin lived in Laplace, and he was like, hey, I guess I was like 19 years old. He said, hey, they're having a party down here in Laplace. I want you to come. So I said, okay. I went down there. I went to the party. And when I saw my wife, I was like, whoa. I just like my eyes and I just like, man, I good looking. She's like, so she invited me. She says, hey, we're going out to the quarter. Do you want to come? I said, sure, I'll be glad to go. So the funny part is, you know, at first when we just kind of hang around, she didn't really like me. She liked to hang out and go out, but she didn't really want me to be like her boyfriend or anything. So it took her a while, but then after that, you know, what got passed over that, you know, it's been an amazing 35 years, you know. And it's, you know, marriage don't come with instruction, right?
No.
Best you can, and like everybody else, there's ups and downs, but you just got to stick it out, you know.
Yeah.
Really.
I've got my 14th anniversary coming up in about 2 weeks, between 2 and 3 weeks. And trust me, even though I got a late start and watched 3 brothers do it, and my parents said, I don't know anything, you know, better than the next guy. It's every day is learn as you go. So how did you end up in this area growing up where you said down on the South Shore at Harahan? And you got family in Laplace, that's kind of near here. Is that how you got up this way, or what?
Well, my family's from Tickfall. My dad was born and raised in Tickfall.
Okay.
And so he left the farm because they were big strawberry farmers, and he left there and moved to New Orleans. He got a job at the grain elevator. That's where he met my mom. And my mom's from South America, so she didn't know no English at that time. So I don't know how they connected, but it worked.
Yeah.
We was just raised there. But I remember coming every Sunday when I was a little boy, coming to Tickfall and going down there to see everybody eat spaghetti every Sunday.
Oh, wow.
But my uncle, in the summertime, I'll go to his farm right there in Springfield. And, you know, as I got older, he was like, hey, I'm getting out of this. I'm selling my place. You want to buy it? Because I always wanted to be there. And so back in 2001, I bought, you know, 24 acres there. And then in 2008, we built. Because my wife says, like, I am not going to the country. I'm living in the city. There's no way I'm going to Springfield, Louisiana. So finally, I convinced her in 2008, we built a house. And that's how we got down here. I raised my kids. They were 10 and 9 when we moved here, and they graduated from Springfield, and you know, so that's how we reside here. And I love
that's neat. Now, when you think back to those days, new home, you know, new area, you know, it's been a while, but what are some values that you wanted to instill in your children then? And what are some things you felt like, you know, we all make mistakes. I don't want to dwell on them. But what are some things you feel like y'all got right as parents that ended up working out for you? You know, or any tips you might want to share with people that have kids that age?
Well, I think it was a good thing moving there because, you know, I love horses and all, and I could raise my kids and just, you know, on that land there, and just to be honest, it just brought us so close together, you know, and just going around, my kids started barrel racing and rodeo, and it just brought the family together. You know, I just remember those days. They don't ride no more, but I still have the horses and feed them, but they don't ride no more. This brings you so close. I just remember going around different rodeos and, you know, barrel racing and just the whole family going, you know, and just kind of got away from that city life, you know what I'm saying? Do something different.
Yeah, you got out there in the country, you got wholesome activities, you know, you got nature, you got animals, and you got competition, and those are all great for kids. So that sounds like the recipe for success. What about career-wise? You mentioned really multiple careers a moment ago. How did you get into those? What did you get into first? Law enforcement, business, ministry?
When I was young, my dad used to work at a welding fabrication business in New Orleans when he was alive. When I was like 10, 11 years old, he used to bring me to the shop. And he wouldn't let me go run around in the summertime with the kids. He said, you coming with me to work. So my whole life was around the welding side of it, you know, steel fabrication. So I guess I just kind of inherited that, doing what he's doing. And I worked at different shops, and I just got, you know, it's like, I didn't even open my own thing. I was 27 years old, I opened my business, Tri-Parish Welding Fabrication.
Wow.
So I've been in business 29 years. Didn't really know the business part of it. I was more hands-on, could do whatever that way, but you know, the administrative part, I was lousy at. But I made it, you know, I made a lot of mistakes, and this year makes 29 years I've been in
Well, take it from a guy who's been an attorney for 23 years and practicing on my own ballpark 20. So have I. You know, they didn't teach me any business in law school, and I made just about every mistake in the book coming up, from not knowing how to balance your books properly to not knowing how to hire the right people, or just what to do. And so I'm sure you made some mistakes there, as we all do. But obviously you succeeded because you're still around. What do you think it was that kept you, at that table, working for yourself, being the owner, the guy in charge, as opposed to when times got tough, just throwing the chips in and saying, darn it, I'm going to get a job. I'm good at doing this. I can do it for anybody. Why did you not go that route? And why did you kind of stay working for yourself and keeping that business?
Because it was hard for me to listen to someone else telling me what to do all the time. I wasn't one good at listening to people, telling me what to do, and authority. It's like I knew I wouldn't have made it. That route. So I was like, I got to do my own thing and have my own freedom. You know what I'm saying? And do
it. Oh, I do, yeah.
So, and I knew that's what, and I regret this because I should have went in the military, but back then when I was young, I was like, listen, I want to make it. Those sergeants and all trying to tell me what to do. I knew I wouldn't have made it back then, but I regret it now. But I wish I would have went that older. You realize things as you get older.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. We come to these crossroads in life, and whether you go left or you go right, one thing's for sure, you don't get to go back and make that turn again, right? I mean, if you can head back down the road, but it's a different turn. What was a right when you saw it the first time is a left on the way back, and different times of day, different things. Well, that's cool. So you've been in business how long? What about this law enforcement thing? When did you become a deputy, and how did that come about?
I became a deputy in 2004 in St. John Parish. That's when my shop's at on Plaza. And They used to bring units over to, do some welding, make trailers, just different things that they needed welded around there. And back then I was when Wayne Jones was the sheriff. And me and him still talk, but he was like, hey, why don't you just come over here and, part-time and come work, So I was like, no, and he kept after me. So finally I went. I started off in the traffic division in the evening times, traffic, and I've
So
been
you probably worked with old Monty Adams down there then, huh?
Sir?
Did you work with Monty Adams down there?
Yeah, I know Monty.
So Monty was like a big brother to me. We grew up across the street, and that's good people, man. I know he served down there with y'all forever. Well, good deal. Well, tell me about this ministry that you're in, Transport Ministries. It sounds like such an exciting concept to really help people who need it. If you don't mind, first talk about what it is like for somebody who's never heard of it, and two, tell us how you got into it and why it's so important to you.
All right, I got in it back in 2019. Well, let me back up. Transport Ministries is a 501c3 faith-based nonprofit. We go around just helping people in disaster times, like when hurricanes or disaster hits, we go out there and help. And just because I know what it feels like to lose your house. Because me and my wife, when I was 22 years old, we lost everything we had at Hurricane Andrew.
Oh, wow.
So I know what it feels like to lose, everything you had, because we walked out there with just our clothes on. So that's kind of where it started, but we go around just serving, bringing food, whatever they need. I got contacts with different people that donate and give us supplies to be able to go out there, because you can't afford to buy it, so everything is just donated.
Right.
So that's basically what we do. But it actually started in 2019 when Laura hit in Lake Charles. That day after that, something just on my mind says, hey, you need to go out there and help those guys. So I belong to a Delta 7 law enforcement motorcycle.
I'm glad you mentioned that. I wanted to ask you about that. Is that a motorcycle club for law enforcement agents?
Yeah, law enforcement and military.
Uh-huh.
And, that's something else I'm the president of. I've been a president for 8 years here.
Well, I'm going to ask you about that in a second, but before we do, what I've done here, James, is pull up your Facebook page, and I noticed that it says volunteers needed here for the upcoming Strawberry Festival. Is that right?
Correct, yes.
And it looks to me like if folks go to your Facebook page and they go to the strawberry photo with the volunteers needed, They can get in here, and there's a clickable sign-up link. Is that the best way for people to get involved, or do you want them to do something different?
No, that's the best way. You go to Facebook or the webpage.
Okay.
Transportministry.org.
And so if people were to volunteer with you, what could they expect in terms of what they'd be asked to do?
Well, we're gonna have a booth. We're gonna be selling water for $2 a bottle. So basically, we need volunteers out there, like we have a trough out there. We're gonna put the water in and just kind of hand it out. And we're gonna have some people collecting the money, or we're gonna have, Cash App, Venmo. We're gonna have where you can just use your phone or whatever just to pay for it. But basically, that's what we're gonna be doing. It's our first time doing this at the festival, and we're gonna be set up at Trey Harris's place there on the corner.
That's great. So shout out to Trey Harris, a longtime friend of the show and lifelong friend of mine in real life. But Trey, once again, is the grand champion berry farmer. He's won that distinction several times. And that's a great location for you guys, James, because it's right there in the thick of town, in the thick of the festival. I wanted to mention, this ministry, it sounds near and dear to my heart because it sounds like y'all do, there's overlap between what you're doing and what my brother Bree and Jeff Petkavicius and the folks with United by Barbecue are doing. A little different, but a lot the same, right? Big picture here is everybody knows what it's like to lose a hurricane. When you live around here, if it didn't happen to you, it happened to your grandma or your mom or your cousin or whoever. And you guys are taking that love and the resources we have here into other areas that are in need. And I've just seen the good that, y'all do. And I just want to commend you and thank you for stepping up to do that. I know how hard it is on work life, on family life, on finances and everything else. Watch my brother do it year after year. And so it's really neat to see you doing this. So to our listeners, to our viewers, my producer, Danny Lynn Dennis, has put here in the Facebook comments links not only to the Transport Ministries Facebook page, but also to the volunteer sign up. So if you have the availability, if you have the means, please consider doing that. And James, I think I took you a little bit off topic because you were telling us about Delta 7, and I kind of shut that down. So can we circle back now to Delta 7 and you tell us a little bit more about that organization and how you got involved?
Well, they were formed up in DeRidder, Louisiana, and they didn't want to open some other chapters. So I had a friend of mine that said, hey, why don't you come, let's talk about this club. They want to open one down here in South Louisiana. It's called the East Side Chapter. So I went and met him a couple of times. I was like, all right, let's do this. And then he says, well, we want you to be the president. Let's go down. And I was like, what? You want me to be the president? You invite me. So, yeah, that's how I got involved, because I just like riding motorcycles. I ride the motors with the Tangible Parish Sheriff's Office. You probably see me on the parades and all, so I just love horses and bikes,
That's cool, man. That's cool. Well, tell me this. What else should people know about you? What else are you? Doesn't sound like you got time for hobbies. I doubt you're going to tell me you play a lot of golf because where would the time be for that? But
I do play a little golf. What else should people know
about you and we haven't covered so far?
We really just need help in all kind of ways. Like at our warehouse, we need volunteers. They can come and help us out. Like I said, just go on Facebook. We post a lot. We got something big getting ready to happen in the summertime for the summer school programs. I got another nonprofit that's going to be sending us food because there's a lot of kids that go hungry in the summertime that don't have food.
Yes.
So they sending us 3 18-wheeler loads of food that we got to pack, and we're going to pack them in these little snack packs, and we're going to bring them into summer school when they're having classes, I think on a Thursday, so that way they have something to go home with for the weekend.
Thank you for bringing this up. So because my wife works in the school system with a background in social services, she has told me often about the food insecurity in our community. A lot of times the only square meals kids are getting are at school. So times like today, which is the last day before Easter break, we got a 10-day period where people aren't going to be going to school to get food, and they do things they call blessing bags. Sounds like you're doing something real similar to cover that gap in the summer totally essential because these kids are not getting the meals at home that, you know, families like mine or yours might. So that's wonderful. And so people, if they sign up, they can volunteer. They can help you do that, it sounds like, James.
Yes, they can help us pack the school snacks for the summer. We also do snack packs during the year to give to different schools. We need people to drive. If they have a trailer, they want to come in the warehouse and load up, because we're going to have, like, I think 18 schools all over this parish, plus in Washington and Livingston. And I think we're going to do some up in Macomb, Mississippi. So we're going to need volunteers to come in the warehouse once they pack and bring them to the schools. Just to bring them there and unload them, and the schools will distribute them out. So
that's really cool. You mentioned earlier you guys are a 501c3 charity. And to explain a little bit about what that means, and you can correct me if I'm wrong here, but that's an IRS designation. That means that people can donate to you using tax deductions, which can allow more of that money to get into the community and help people, as opposed to going to Uncle Sam for Lord knows what. How long have y'all had that in place, and how did you know who helped y'all set that up, and how did y'all go about going from just a good idea to a full-blown federally regulated charity?
I'm the type of person, when I do something, I do it right. So when we first formed this, I got with Jennifer Lee, a local attorney here. And,
excellent lawyer. I went to high school and law school with her. She's a fantastic business lawyer.
So we was thinking about doing it ourselves. We kind of looked at it online how to do it. I just told my wife, you know what, let's just bite the bullet, pay the $1,500 and be done with. So that's the route we went. So she set us up in about, I think, 3 to 4 weeks. We were set up, ready to roll, you know, and she made it happen. And it just works out good with all the donations, and, you know, we do everything on a computer. So when you donate, like you said, at the end of the year, you get your tax write-off, and it's all legit, you know, because a lot of people out there worry about, oh, they're just trying to make money. Everything we get goes back into the community or wherever we need it. You know, we don't make a dime off of none of this. But, you know, we have 18 wheels that people don't realize. It takes a lot to run the trucks and the trailers. You know,
I'm gonna bring a picture of it back up here so we can see. Yeah, that's not cheap, folks. A big rig like that is not cheap.
There's a lot of things that happen behind the scenes that people don't know. Just like the other day, I had to put the truck in the shop. That was $6,200. You know,
yikes. Wow.
But you know, when you're fooling with big equipment like that, forklifts and all, things happen. You know.
Absolutely. Well, what have been some lessons you've learned along the way? Because I'm sure there are other people out there that are inspired by your story. You know, maybe they want to help and volunteer with your ministry, and that'd be great. Maybe they're called to do something else, but with very similar nuts and bolts, you know. What lessons have you learned that might help others if you shared with them kind of, you know, about what you learned along the way doing all this?
Just when you do something, do it the right way. Don't, you know, try to go sideways with it, because it'll catch up to you. And if you're feeling something's tugging on you to do something, just go out there and do it, because I think God tugs on me a lot on different things and kind of steers me in that direction to do right. You know, you just got to have a good heart. You got to do what you want to do and just do it right.
That's beautiful advice. I thank you for sharing that with our community. Thank you for serving our community. I promise you that I'll be respectful of your time and get you home, because a man with 3 jobs and 3 kids and 35 years of good marriage needs to get back to all those important things. But before I let you go, James, is there anything else on your mind, anything on your heart, just anything at all you want to share at all, whether it relates to your ministry, your business, your life, or anything else at all?
First thing, just to love on your family, because, you know, when you have a ministry, it takes a lot. And you just got to be respectful for them, and be respectful for you. And like I said, just go out there with a big heart and just do what you feel like doing and do it right. And you will have some mistakes and you'll learn, you know. And start off small. Don't jump into it big, because we started 5 years ago small. Now, and this year just really blew up Transport Ministries.
Yeah. That's really neat. That's good advice. You know, I have a much smaller foundation, a little charity called Bikes for Kids, Louisiana. And the same advice would work for us. start small. For us, it started with 5 bikes, and now we give away 50 every summer. And much smaller outfit than what you're running for sure. But the point you make is an excellent one. If you're doing a little bit of something, you're going to learn, and then that way you miss the mistakes that would have compounded and really hit you hard down the line. You hadn't started small and kind of crawled before you could walk before you could run, etc. So thank you for your time, sir. Thank you for your service to our listeners, to our viewers. Thank y'all for sticking with us here to the end. James Sparacello, Transport Ministries, they're doing great work. And as we close, I'm just going to one more time show you that they're in the comments, and you can go right here to where it says volunteer here. You click that link that says sign up genius, and you can get involved yourself. And you can do that now. And they have a big need for the Strawberry Festival, which starts, here soon, folks. So we're just a week away. So thank you all, and we'll see you here on Ponchatoula Live, same time next week. Y'all take care.
Thank you.